All right, here we go. Got another awesome episode of Iron Sharpens Iron. Today, I got my man Brad, who just finished up his 5th week of the Forge Father Project. Brad, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing awesome, bro. Completely feeling, hyped up, got a lot more energy, and I I hit the gym a lot more than I used to, and yeah, not gonna stop, man. Never will.
I right before we hit record, I loved what you said is like you're busy, you constantly travel, but yet you make a way to get it done. And behind you, you got the Forged Warrior codes on the wall, and you said, what were the 2 major codes that you mentioned?
The 2 codes that I live by is own up, no apologies, and commit. It's all a process. That's
Yeah.
it is. It's all a process, right? Like it may take months, years for you to see the ultimate body that you want to have, but just don't ever give up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So for you, like, what are some of the biggest wins that you had over the course of the 5 weeks, man?
Cutting back on my junk food. Actually, I don't really eat a lot of junk food. Just really watching my calorie intake and just getting out there and doing it. Just making no excuses. Like it doesn't matter what the weather's like. I mean, it doesn't matter that when I was down visiting my parents, province away I took my TRX with me. I took my kettlebell with me. I took, there was no excuses. They go on Sunday and I went live, and it was, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is part of the protocol. This is the brotherhood I'm in. I made a commitment and I foresee it.
Yeah. Because I remember that initial conversation that we had before we started this thing. Like for you, the big thing was just we didn't have the accountability. We didn't have the leverage, so to speak, in our life at the time where we were just so inconsistent, right? So kind of talk about like where you were before we got started. Like what were some of the different barriers that you were running into?
Well, my excuses was I didn't have time. Because being on the road and even though I did have something that I had for years, like this TRX, I barely pulled out of the bag. I took it every once in a while, but I didn't think it was going to be as effective as it really is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm doing this mostly for my kids' sake, right? Like I want to be healthy for my kids, and that was my ultimate why.
And how many kids you got?
2.
You got 2, and how old are you currently right now?
I'm 39.
39. So not 40 yet. We're trying to hit us 40.
July on Independence Day.
That's crazy, man. So July 4th, huh? Man, that's nuts. So kind of going back over, like for you, like I know the codes are a big thing for you. I mean, just implementing those into your lifestyle. But like overall, as far as like the results that you've seen over the 5 weeks, like what are some of the biggest results that you've seen? I mean, you mentioned energy, like you're just more energized, but for you, like what are some of the big things that you've noticed?
I feel better. My back is actually less sore because I'm not dragging all that weight. Even though I wasn't fat, but it was still affecting, and I've noticed that I've got better posture. And I'm hitting my numbers. I'm surprised, really, I am, that it's even possible for the lifestyle that I live that I can actually hit my numbers.
When you say hit numbers, you're referring to like your macro targets, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people will be watching this and they'll be like, hitting numbers, what the hell are you talking about?
Right. Sorry.
But yeah, as far as like the fuel process that we implement within the system, it's not, a diet template. It's not, hey, we're just going to do keto or paleo or whatever. It's more so like with your lifestyle. I mean, you're busy, you're on the go, you're constantly, on the move. Really, at the end of the day, it's just about hitting your numbers, like hitting your macros, right? And so talk about that a little bit. Like what type of of a journey have you been on just in that regard? Because I know for most guys, that's where a lot of guys struggle, is with the nutrition side.
Well, it's not what you eat, it's how much you eat,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it depends. Obviously, it depends on what you eat because your calories going to be high, but
Yeah.
you just watch. You don't eat and barge. Like, if you're going to have cereal in the morning, don't have 3 bowls of cereal, have one, or,
Yeah.
and then have food in between, like between lunch and dinner. And yeah, just really count your numbers. It's really not that hard. And if you need, there's a macro calculator you can download, and there's lots of tools and knickknacks you can use to watch your calorie intake
Yeah.
and know your numbers. And you're not going to be able to track them, more accurately until you do an actual 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like one day is not gonna, it's not gonna be good enough to say where your numbers are, right?
Yep. Yeah. Part of that process is like, and, obviously the most important thing is, the amount of energy that you're taking in, like the amount of fuel, right? And it's going to be different for everybody across the board, but obviously quality is still very, very important in that. But that doesn't mean that we can't fit in, like you're saying, like the bowl of cereal or something like that. But I like that point that you hit on. It's like, it takes time. It takes the time to figure out where we need to be specifically. And so it's not just, oh, you track your nutrition for one day and then, oh, it's fixed. It's like, no, it's a little bit of a process, a week, 2 weeks, getting consistent on seeing where you're at. And then we make adjustments. And really what it's all pushing us towards is that long-term sustainable change versus, a lot of the stuff that's out there. It's like instant, quick fix, oh, just implement this diet template or, something like that. And yeah, we might see some results right away from it, but as well as I do, those are very short-lived, and we oftentimes just end up back at square one or, worse off. Right. And so it's real important that you commit to that process, and that's part of the codes, man, part of the codes on that banner right behind you. So, but for you, like, no, go ahead.
To add to background, is about, these dietary plans, there's other ones out there that, they're all fabs, like they may take, weight off in 1 week, but all they're taking off is water weight. They're not taking any excess weight. They're not taking the actual fat out. Whereas what we are implementing or what we're using works, and it has taken time. Like, I'd still have a little bit of a punch, but it's, I'm getting to see more and more of a six pack. The more I work, the more I watch my numbers. It works. You got to work for it to work.
Yeah. And what's cool, kind of hitting back on that, is like, once we whittle away at that and we get to a certain point, like, we'll be able to sustain it versus, some quick fix type thing. Like, yeah, you might lose a bunch of weight right away, but like I mentioned, it's very short lived. And so it pays off in the end. I mean, if you're willing to commit to that long-term process, which a lot of guys aren't, unfortunately, they all want the results overnight. And so, I mean, you commit to that long-term process. Well, guess what? Now you get to enjoy those results much longer because you do it the right way, right? So, but no, talk about, I guess, just being a part of this program for this initial 5 weeks. Like, what are some of the big, I guess, takeaways that you've gotten that you'd like to share?
Well, I like that it's an accountability group. So it's not just you alone, going in and trying to basically struggle through the process. Whereas on, every Sunday we have our live check-ins. And I think that's a very awesome idea. I first dread it because I was like, I'm not a guy that goes live all the time. I don't mind doing it, but it's just like having a shirt off and doing all this stuff. We're being a business attire. Well, I don't work real major business. I work in, transportation. So I don't have suit and tie. So I'm like, okay, well, show your white bare skin, bro. But yeah, no, I said, I love the accountability and how everybody, they're all accountable, honestly. Like, you'll know who the true brothers are, and they'll have your back if you're having any issues. Like, we've had, a lot happened within that 5 weeks, right? So, and we're all, you know, siding with each other and have each other's back, and love it, man.
Yeah, it's so important, man. But yeah, going back to like the live check-ins, it's interesting because I implemented that in because I know just doing something that gets you out of your comfort zone mentally, it transforms you. And so what's really interesting on my end is when you first start, so like that first week, like you'll do that live check-in and you're really hesitant and you can tell like nerves a little bit, but then week 2 it's a little bit better. Week 3, now it really starts to come around, and week 4 or 5 it's just like boom, you can see that confidence and that swagger and that clarity. The biggest thing is like the clarity, because the fact that you have to check in, let everybody know what you've been up to or what you haven't been up to. And I mean, at that point it is, honor system kind of, but if you look at the codes, one of the main codes is live life with integrity, right? And so do the right thing, tell the truth, be honest. And so when you're truly living by the codes and you're doing those check-ins, that's a part of the thing. If like you slipped off track and you got lazy or whatever, like you own up to that, right? And you let everybody else know about it. But through doing that, you just get yourself better, man. Because if we think about it, a lot of times the reason guys aren't changing is because they live in that comfort zone and they don't change, right? They're just constantly in that comfort bubble. And if we want transformation, if we want true change, like we have to get outside of that comfort bubble. So, the live check-ins are just one of the many ways that, number one, we keep ourselves accountable, but then number 2, hell yeah, it's going to get you uncomfortable, man. But that's part of the process, right?
And you got brothers that are leading. You got like PT Dan, like and when he does his live check-ins, it's not just a check-in. He's doing his goddamn workout. Like he's giving her. Like I love that man. He's unbelievable, man.
Yeah. And that, that's another big piece about it is like all of you guys we're essentially going through the same thing. Like we all have that big end goal in mind. Like we're trying to better ourselves as men, get stronger physically, mentally. And when you have all these other guys on the same track with you, it makes it that much better because you see them succeeding, they see you succeeding, and we all rise as one. And that's what is most special about this whole thing to me is you're just not on your own, man. Like it is a brotherhood, right? So that's really what it's about, man. And
yeah, I've never been part of it. Yeah, I've never been in like a group like this before. I've been in other groups, but not so much to have an accountability system built in. Mm-hmm. And that literally is a game changer. It is like, because you are like, you now have to be accountable for all your actions and own up to your bullshit. Like if it's been a bad week, say it's a bad week, I had one not bad week, but I had a car wreck or a deer hit my freaking vehicle. Well, I still don't have the thing fixed because I'm still waiting for parts, but that's beside the point. But that's not an excuse, I still did the work.
Mm-hmm. Still found a way to get it done.
Yeah.
And it's better than, just stopping. Like a lot of guys, they'll get to that point and they'll just be like, they stop. And then they find themselves in that vicious cycle of starting and stopping, starting and stopping, starting and stopping. So a lot of times when you don't have codes or life principles in play, that's what happens. There's nothing guiding you forward. There is nothing, right? And so it's just like you lose the motivation, you lose the momentum forward, and it's like blah, right? Whereas when you get that stuff implemented in your lifestyle, you got that accountability, you got that leverage that keeps nudging you forward, right? So it's awesome, man. But what I guess up to this point, like 5 weeks in, now like some of your big goals, like what do we got our eyes set on moving forward?
Well, I got to get into an actual real gym again, but eventually down the road, I would like to own my own gym. That was my whole perspective in a long time ago, and it's just getting the financing and everything in play. But that's ultimately where I want to head, is be a leader in my own gym.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. And I know there's a couple other guys in the group already that have kind of started to move that direction. Like you mentioned, Dan, it's not his major profession, but he's started to branch off, and, you know, and that's really, for me, like that's special, because part of this program is not only like transforming ourselves, but then becoming that leader for all those people around us, you know, obviously our family, our kids, like being the role model for them, like, hey, this is how to live life. Like, you know, obviously be fit and healthy, but how do you live life? What type of character are you, you know? And so it's been cool to see a lot of the guys in the group, they're branching off and they're having impact on other people's lives around them. And so that's a major success overall. I mean, you're taking control of your own life, and then, you know, helping impact others. That's pretty damn special in my mind. So that's awesome.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Cool,
and I want my kids to know what it's like to, you know, to be fit and to stay fit, and
yep.
you know, and just lead by example to all the people that don't. They think that life is over because they've gained this little amount of weight, which, you know, you can take it off. It's going to take time. It's going to take a ton of effort, but there's no excuses. To go do it, you know?
Yep. You just gotta do it, man. It's easy to say, but we all know the hardest part is actually doing what you need to do and doing it on a daily basis, right? So
yeah, take massive action.
Yep. One of the codes, man. One of the codes. So Brad, what's one thing that you want to leave off, or I guess we'll close this thing out, but like, what's one big, I guess, aha or like tip, somebody that might be in a bad position. So a guy that he knows he wants to change, he knows he wants to transform, but he just can't do it. What would the major piece of advice be that you'd want to give to him?
Well, it's all in the head. You know, if you really want something bad enough, you're thinking it, you're gonna do it. You just gotta implement it, right? If somebody is overweight and wants to get fit, I mean, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take money and lots of grief, but do it, man. Like, make no excuses. Do it for yourself if you're doing it for anybody, you know, and just give her shit, you know?
Yep. Give it hell, man. Give it hell. And big point there. You said, if you're going to do it at all, like, number one, you got to do it for yourself, right? Because a lot of times as dads, this is a conversation that I have a lot, is you're doing what you need to do for your family. Your family's priority. Everything you do is basically for them. A lot of times we ourselves, we get put at the bottom of the list, and we keep holding off on that, holding off on it until we finally look in the mirror and we're like, holy shit, like, who am I? Like, what happened to me? I'm overweight. I'm run down. I have no energy, confidence, you know, it's gone. And so that's a really, really key point. I think a lot of guys got it. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. Like, in my mind, I think it's selfish to not take care of yourself, because long-term game, you're going to get to a point where you can't take care of those people that matter most to you. You can't take care of them because you can't even take care of yourself. Like, you're so far run down and in a pit, you know, it's exactly. It's like they say when you're on an airplane, right? If the oxygen masks pop out, it's like they always say, put yours on first and then assist those people around you to put theirs on if they need help, versus, you know, and this is just the mindset a lot of guys have. They're like, they're go-givers and they're looking to take care of everybody else around them, you know, instead of themselves. Think about it. If you're running around the airplane trying to help everybody else, you're going to run out of oxygen. you're going to pass out. You're going to die, you know? And so, yeah, take care of yourself. And that's how you create more impact. That's how you lead is, yeah, you got to make sure you're good and then push forward, man. So, yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Got anything else you want to leave off with, Brad?
No, other than if somebody is looking to get in and need to get in an accountable group, you know, for accountability and have no more excuses, you know, and don't say you don't have time. Don't say you can't do it. Don't say that, you know, because of your circumstances in life where you are, you travel, you drive freaking semi. I don't care. There's no excuses. I drive semi and I make time when I'm in the hotel
Yep.
where I do all my work. I mean, there's not a gym there. That's why I got a TRX and a kettlebell and all this other kind of stuff.
Yep.
People laugh at me because my bag is 3 tons heavier than it should be, but you know what? You do whatever. You do what you have to. You do what you have to.
You do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. I love it. It's good stuff, man. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Brad. That was a great episode. A lot of good key points. And dude, I'm excited. We got the foundation laid, and so now it's essentially let's take the next step. Let's move forward. Let's keep pushing this journey ahead, man. So I'm excited for what's ahead for you. So good stuff. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, appreciate you accepting me in the group and being a big leader to me. You know, like it's made a big impact. And yeah, I've already spoke to a few buddies because they're like, what are you doing? Like, they don't even know, right? And I'm like, well, hey, it's an accountability group. If you want, I can link you up, you know?
Yeah. Awesome, brother. Well, thanks so much, dude. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Travis.